Hi, I'm Kat, marketer turned brand storyteller.
And I'm Candice, educator turned entrepreneur.
And you're listening to
Not Nice, Clever.
We're two introverts who speak on stages around the country and work with top personal brands who also unapologetically require 24 to 48 hours of recovery time on the couch in our favorite sweats. All Netflix and no chill.
And to be clear, we're not quiet or nice. Together, we're redefining what it means to be an introvert who means business. It's time to show up and show off. Are you in? In today's mini episode of Not Nice Clever, we're talking about overcoming isolation, building connections and community as an introverted entrepreneur. Kat and I have done this, and we have some tips for you as you begin to grow your community and connections. So, Kat, let's talk about some of the things that have helped you overcome isolation.
Yes. So I think as somebody who's introverted, I'm typically haven't been in the past the first person to speak up, the first person to raise my hand, to like literally my heart would just be thudding in my chest and I'd be sweating. I'd be like, somebody else speak first, somebody else speak first, right? Because I used to be worried about what people would think or be like, oh, she's so aggressive, or oh, she's so greedy, or oh, she's so needy, like all of these mental tapes. And I also didn't want to be the first to speak up because I wanted somebody else that I could compare myself to, right? Like, what did they say? Where did they start? And we know what comparisonitis leads to. And so my first tip here is to remember, regardless of like introvert, extrovert, CEO, entry level, whatever it is, nobody is actually your competition. The only competition you have is who you were yesterday. So as long as you are beating that person, just look at everybody else as the potential to collaborate and to lift up and support.
That's such an important note that every human being that you're meeting is an opportunity to collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
And if you approach it, any conversation, as seeking out an opportunity to collaborate, where can we go further together?
Mm-hmm.
You will see a benefit in your business. You'll see also a benefit in your life. Some of my closest friends actually do things that are very similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we never see each other as competition. If anything, we are saying each other's names in every room we can.
Yeah. Who can get more business for one another? Like, hire this person, hire this. Like, let's go.
Absolutely. This happens all the time. I've been on many calls even this month. This is the 9th. I've been on calls with people who do the exact same, we have our own ways, but the exact same thing as me, who've said, hey, I might have this person who'd be a good fit for you. I might have that person who'd be a good fit for you. And we do that all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been the most beneficial thing in my business, is like figuring out who I could collaborate with and learning about people so that I can connect them with the opportunities that are most aligned with their gifts and talents. And as an introvert, I have found a way to kind of gamify when I meet people.
Of course, you would turn it into an internal competition. Yeah.
I have to. But I shared this on another podcast, but I don't think I've shared it on our own podcast.
Okay. Rude, but all right.
I know. So this is what I did before our podcast conference that we attended.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I want to meet 5 other podcast hosts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just took that mental note. Sometimes I write it down on my phone, meet 5 podcast hosts. And I probably want to meet podcast hosts who are in alignment with similar values. Maybe they have a similar audience.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I am usually awkwardly introducing myself to someone, it feels less awkward because I know that I'm going to be able to check off that item, that game that I created for myself, and be like, oh, I met this podcast host who has a podcast about XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great person to know. And then I follow up with them. And so for me, it's something that I'm doing that feels less awkward because I have a particular goal in mind. And what I find is that when I actually follow up with these people, they're surprised because no one else is following up with them.
Yeah.
But that's part of the task in my game, is like I have to also follow up with them.
Obviously.
So it's a framework that works in my mind that lets me get over the awkward small talk because I'm working towards something.
Mm-hmm.
Is that silly?
No.
Do introverts all do that?
No, but I mean, you're just doing it in a slightly different way than what I've done it, because like you're not saying, okay, there's so many people here. There's probably so many people trying to talk to one another, and who knows what their goals are, and their podcast has been around for 5 years longer than my, like all that self-talk. But you're just like, I'm going to set a game. the rules of the game. The only person who knows the rules of the game are me. And I'm going to beat the game because I'm playing the game
Yeah.
and I make the rules and I break them if I want to. And this is my game. And it's like you're not comparing what are the goals for anybody else. You're just setting your own
No.
goals and making it fun. Like that's in line with like the nobody is your fucking competition. So just have fun with it
No.
and keep it to yourself if you want to or share it.
Yeah, no one knows what's going on in your mind about it.
Yeah.
And it's a little hack that I have for myself that allows me to not be isolated, but to put myself out there in a way that feels meaningful to me
Mhm.
and in a way that helps me move forward with my own goals. Because as you know, we want to be in the top 1% of podcasts. That's what we're working on
Mhm.
right now. We're in the top 2.5% right now. And knowing other podcasters and being in community with people who are doing the damn thing
Mhm.
is going to help us get there.
Yeah. And I think this is one thing that it's so easy to forget. You mentioned this like right before we hopped on to record that we literally have essentially a supercomputer in the palm of our hands. It's called a smartphone. It's Android if you're on Will's team, it's iPhone if you're on Candace's and
It's
my
definitely
team.
not Android. That's not even a thing. If you have an Android, just drop it in the toilet. I don't know. Get an iPhone.
Get an iPhone. And we use this to watch other people, just to watch, to lurk, right? I know Chelsea, one of our good friends and incredible coaches, she says, like, love your lurkers and we love you, but also don't forget to fucking remember and reach out.
Leave a 5-star review.
Well, that too, but also like let us know you're here and like what's on your mind. And don't just use social to lurk, use it to connect. Like remember what it was made for in the first place. And it's just like I feel like it can be so easy to just sit back on the sidelines, but forget that you can use your phone to do that, to literally send a text message. Like, okay, so here's a hack like for busy introverts. I don't have a CRM because that word just like ugh, does not sound good to me, but I have a PRM, essentially the same thing, but like different gift wrapping. It's personal relationship management software. So I don't like saying customer relationship. I'm like, that's a little weird to me. But it's called Clay, CLAY, and we'll drop a link in the show notes to it if you guys want to check it out. But it's like very aesthetic. It's very iPhone friendly. So Candace, I know you would approve. And I set reminders on weekly, monthly, and quarterly cadences to just remind me to reach out to certain people because there's that saying you can only keep track of like 150 relationships at any given time. I'm blessed to know and want to be in community with more than that number. So Clay reminds me every day. It's like 2 or 3 people. Hey, it's time to reach out to Tina. You set a weekly reminder. Hey, it's time to reach out to Can. Well, you'll be happy to know, Candace. I don't
Here
ever
I
have
am.
to remind. Yeah, be reminded to reach out to you. But it's an easy thing. I set up the software. It reminds me. It does not automate my outreach. It just reminds me. And I'm like, shit, yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't talked to that person in 6 weeks. Thank you. You know? So that's another little hack.
What I love about our phones is that we can connect with people across the world from the comfort of our own couch.
Mm,
And as an introvert, that feels so satisfying to me.
it does.
And I'd also like to note that you also have permission to put your phone in airplane mode on those days when you just can't, or that afternoon when you just can't, and you need to take a step away. Put your
Mhm.
phone on airplane mode and enjoy your life. Because if you're anything like me, you can definitely get caught up. I know Dom asked me to do something the other day. Like
Uh-oh.
I had to find something in my phone, maybe check an email or something like that, right? And
Mhm.
so I get my phone and of course I have 17 notifications. And so I start the notifications
Obviously.
and 10 minutes later he's like, did you find the thing? I was like, oh, that's why I opened my phone. Okay. So it's easy to get caught in a rabbit hole like that.
Mhm.
If you need to take a break, take a break. You're allowed.
Yeah. I think that's so true. And I might actually send this episode to Will and just have him fast forward to that point because that's probably a weekly occurrence where he's like, did you remember the thing or did you get lost? I was like, I may or may not be lost. And he's like, come back. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
Mhm.
But yes, I love that. Well, I do the do not disturb. I know you're a fan of the airplane mode, but I do the do not disturb.
Well, my phone lives in silent. Like my phone never pings or rings ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's silent all day long.
It doesn't even like buzz like for notifications.
Nothing.
Oh, all right. Well.
Yeah. So I'll see your message when I pick up my phone. But airplane mode, makes me get off my phone.
Mm-hmm. So whatever you need to do, because honestly, sometimes unplugging can help with the isolation. I know that might seem counterintuitive, but maybe it's just that you just need to spend some time with yourself. Or maybe it's just
Yeah.
that you need to leverage a little bit of tech to remind you to, call your mother or reach out
Mm,
to your cousin.
yeah.
Mom will be calling you soon after recording this. And just look at every person as an opportunity to connect with, collaborate with. They're not competition. The only competition is the internal mind games you play with yourself to help you make yourself better. And that's it.
That's it. So share this with a friend who needs to know. Leave a 5-star review. See you, Clever Crew. Thanks for joining us on Not Nice, Clever.
Remember to follow our podcast wherever you listen to audio.
And if you found today's episode valuable, please share it with your friends.
No gatekeeping here. Remember, we love to see our clever crew grow.
Signing off, you're not so nice, but oh so clever besties that mean business.
See you soon.